Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Naveen Kumar Gupta, Director BCGVL. At the outset, I must thank the organizers of BPHI Con 2023 for this International Public Health Conference. And definitely, yes, the public health is the future for our country, for the entire world. On that note, I will talk about the topic which has been assigned to me, CGMP compliance and BCG vaccine production in Chennai. See, the Chennai has been very fortunate to have a BCG vaccine production unit since 1948. So this institute is a subordinate office under Directorate General of Health Services and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and under Government of India. And it was first established in May 1948, just after the independence, and with the help of the Statens Serum Institute, Copenhagen, Denmark, who provided us with the seed strain Danish 1331 WHO. And till 2008, all the people sitting out here, we all got the vaccine made from BCGVL Chennai. So there has been a total journey of this organization for preparing the vaccine and the supply chain management all over country. It varied from the old conventional technologies, from the liquid vaccine in the ampule forms, in the vials to the ampules, from the 50 doses to 20 doses, and then unfortunately this CGMP. What is CGMP? It means the current good manufacturing practices. So this document came through the WHO, which was applicable to most of the countries in the world. Say more than 100 countries they have adopted. They say not only the final product, but each and every step, right from the source, the resource materials, and every step it should pass in the quality standard, not only at the final step. And hence it requires the preparation of SOPs in all the departments, including, say, the quality control, manufacturing, containerization, and say labeling, packaging, supply chain management. They have to be recorded, documented, and then if there's any kind of a deviation from the same, immediately out of specification things they have to be addressed, and the impact of that out of specification has to be documented on the product. So now if you see, the vaccine manufacturing is pretty different from, say, the infectious diseases. Once we work, say, for the infectious disease diagnosis in the laboratory, we are trying to protect the human beings from the infectious organism. But the story is absolutely different in a vaccine manufacturing industry, where we are trying to protect the vaccine, which is the product which we are going to produce, because it falls under the category of biologicals. And hence there are standards which are defined in the world, and fortunately we are one of those 17 BCG manufacturing units all over the world, and one of them is located here in India in Chennai. So after this, again, the government of India, after, say, because of this non-compliance, so the old technology, previously the GMP standards were not there, but that does not mean the quality of the vaccine was inferior. It was passing in every test. But now, as the new standards and the new technology comes up, the world is expected to adapt it, and as far as possible, ensure it for the people, so that every lot of vaccine, every vial of vaccine which reaches to the field and to the patient or the normal healthy child, it should be pretty safe. So on that context, the Ministry of Health allocated some 64 crore rupees way back in 2011, and now in this facility was constructed as per the CGMP standard, which takes into account the design qualification of the manufacturing unit, the plant location, and then the process validation of each and every activity, and the SOPs and the training of the each and every personnel. So this is what was done, and then the trial batches and the consistency batches, that every lot of the vaccine should be consistent, every batch should be consistent, and then there are quality control standards. Initially, we have to do it internally within our premises as per the international standards, and subsequently we are scrutinized by the National Regulatory Authority, which says the CDL Kasoli. So the samples, they are taken by our own Dr. Vinay, and after those sampling, they are sent to the CDL Kasoli. And once they find it complies to the international standard, they send us a certificate of the standard quality and reaches back to us. So on that account, after some 3 years from 2016, after getting the facility, it took us 3 years to do the validation of each and every process and making the facility as CDMP compliant. It looks very easy, but believe me, to do it in real time, it takes a real good amount of energy, but it is doable. So on that note, I will say, if you see the production processes, they involve the upstream processes. So in the upstream processes, right from the seed strain, we do not, for the BCG, we do not have the fermenter technology. Still the technology for the BCG vaccine production is age-old only, where you have to culture the mycobacterium in the tubes, and then we want a vaccine. So those so many hundreds and lakhs and thousands of tubes and those cultures of Mycobacterium bovis, and then we have to extract that growth, make a cake out of it, and then prepare a vaccine. So once you prepare, that is what we call as the upstream process. And then in the downstream process, you prepare a vaccine as per the Indian pharmacopoeia. And now once it goes into the vaccine and into the vials, this is totally under the automation technology which is imported from IMA, Italy by the government of India, where there is no human touch or intervention so that any kind of contamination does not go into the product. So it is completely online vial washing and depyrogenation, online filling, online capping, vaccine physical verification, then labeling, and then the packaging. Now, if you see, there is a little difference between the engineering services which the hospitals they have and the engineering services which the vaccine production facilities have, because these engineering services, they form the part of the core services for the vaccine production unit, because we have the class A, B, and C area. Class A area has got almost zero particle count as good as the neurosurgical OT. And if you see, even if one single hair goes into it, it will be counted as 25 particles. So now you can imagine to produce and create such kind of facility where the product is going to be absolutely safe. So this is what it is all about, but it takes a lot of energy and resources and skilled and trained manpower to do and achieve that. Not only that, we require the number of tests to be done on the vaccine, which is say the potency of the vaccine, abnormal toxicity of the vaccine, even the animal testing of the vaccine, for which we have the guinea pig and the animal house. For that animal house, again, we have animal ethics committee, CPCSCA guidelines. All those guidelines also needs to be followed. And then as the vaccine big industry produces the waste, we need to have the effluent treatment plant and the sewage treatment plant. Again, there are standards to comply, and we have to comply with each and every pollution control, and we have been able to do that. So that way, Chennai BCGVL has been a great achiever, not only for the state of Tamil Nadu, but for the entire country. I will show you in another few slides. So these are the few tests. This is how we see and check the quality at each and every step. This is the trend graph for the viability. It's a live attenuated vaccine. So this is the viability graph in the final lot of the vaccine. What is going to be the water content monitoring, the upper line, lower line, and it should fall within the limits, the upper and the lower limits. Once that kind of a limit is defined, this is the upper limit, this is the lower limit, and this is a trend graph for the survival rate in the final lot and the temperature stability. Once everything is stable, this is how the vaccine goes into the next quality control checking, quality assurance checking, and then into the packaging. Now, most of the people, they ask me, being a director, how much is the capacity of your plant? So the capacity of the practical plant is, we can have say around 3.3 crore doses in a year, but 20% of the time is always allocated for the maintenance, preventive maintenance of the facility. So considering that, if we do the maximum subject to all available resources of uninterrupted utilities, raw material, manpower, and the budget, so roughly 2.6 crore doses of the vaccine this unit is capable of producing. Now, this is where you see the packaging of the vaccine. BCG vaccine which is prepared in Chennai. This is the final product. This is the BCG vaccine with a diluent. And if you see, this is the story in the last 3 4 years of the vaccine, even in the COVID-19 pandemic. If you see, the COVID vaccine was prepared for the adults, but what was working for our country for the children, as a preventive healthcare, it was very important to know that the children, they were fairly protected. And what was working was, say, the BCG. So this was a lot of researchers, they said, a lot of people they debated, but at the end of the day, we were able to, even during those pandemic times, we were able to kickstart this facility in a very good way, and it has come up. The budget of the facility is there, the BERD and the actual expenditure, and not only that, all the product which is produced by this organization, it is again sold to the government of India in the universal immunization program. And then every year we have been generating around 8 to 10 crores or 12 crores of money out of the budget allocated to us, despite the cost of the vaccine being very low, almost 1/5 as compared to the private sector manufacturer, and the quality and the standards being at par with anywhere in the world. So if you see, it is only 5 rupees 30 paisa per dose in 2021, 5 rupees 80 paisa in 21-22, and now 6 rupees 50 paisa in the year 22-23. So not only this, the vaccine which is produced in the last 2 years, it has been supplied for all the GMSDs, say GMSD in Karnal, GMSD Calcutta, GMSD Mumbai, and many other consignee lists which is provided to us by the Vaccine Institute Section, Division of Immunization in Ministry of Health. But since our trucks, we are the main supplier, so our trucks, they are big trucks, refrigerated trucks, they cannot move to the small localities. So we have advised the government of India to restrict the supply of the main manufacturers only to the GMSDs, not to the small consignees. Now, this is the details in the last 4 years of the supplies. So roughly 1.5 to 2 crore children, they get a good quality standard vaccine BCG, which is at par with anywhere in the world. Our own children, they get the vaccine for the last 4 years from this plant. Issues and challenges. Issues and challenges, they are definitely, yes, there to run this kind of a sophisticated CGMP vaccine production plant, which is very, very high resource intensive. It takes a lot of money, a lot of dedication, conviction, commitment for every kind of a manufacturer. And I'm not just speaking about say BCG. Once we say the GMP has got its own issues to comply, which is not easy. And all over the world, many times the GMP plants, they shut down also for a short time as they face some kind of contamination. So therefore, issues and challenges, they have to be addressed well in time, and that requires the commitment of the government, ministry, and sometimes with the political commitment. So we have been able to, deal with most of the issues very powerfully and effectively, and the result is the vaccine is there. But sometimes we also get constrained by the GFR 2017, because if you see, there is a vaccine formula. So every product has to be there from a particular vendor. The GFR does not allow the single vendor power. They only lie with the DG of the country or the ministry. So many times the files, they have to go to the ministry for the approval, say even for the diluent of the vaccine or the approval, because they say, why you can't buy the diluent from any other manufacturer? Now the point is, in the drug licensing, it has been endorsed the particular vendor as a part of the quality standard and the GMP. That can look like a constraint to us, because we have to go to the ministry, and sometimes we face some kind of a delay also in the approvals and the supply, because people, they change, and the new people, they do not understand the GMP. They will again ask repeatedly the same question: why you can't have, why you can't do this, why you can't do this. So GMP has to be treated in a special way, very different from all the other institutes, so as to run the GMP compliant facility in Government of India. For the private sector, it is easy to do. Whatever they want to buy, they can buy it at a much easy. But in a government, we have to keep all the rules all the time perfect before we can proceed further. So sometimes we take time, sometimes things they get delayed. But the good picture is, despite all constraints, we still made it. We can do it more. So that requires more of compensation. So on that account, I think I will not take more of time because I said I will take short time. I will finish in 10 minutes. So thank you, all of you. Thank you.
So thank you, sir.
If there are any questions, if the time permits, I can take the questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your extensive session on the milestones, revival of the facility, production process, core facility, core services, and no doubt GMSD is one of the proud facility and Sadakya for our country. The house is open for discussion.
One of the questions I had is that this is in King's Institute or in Chengalpattu. I think it's in King's Institute that this facility you are mentioning in. What is happening in the...
What you said is, sir, absolutely right. This is not in King's Institute. Earlier on, in 1948, it was started under the aegis of the King's Institute. But for last, I think, 30-40 years, just next to the King's Institute, this institute has got its own location and premises. And although we still have a very good rapport with the King's Institute, so we work as brother and sister. So it is not there in Chengalpattu, it is there in Guindy.
But why is
adjacent to the King's Institute only?
So the question I have is, why has Chengalpattu not become another brother of yours? I mean, Chengalpattu was a big laboratory, vaccine facility set up, and we were having lots of hopes on that. What is the story of Chengalpattu not coming into play?
For this question, sir, maybe I am not the right person because, see, I have been posted as a director in January 2021 so as to bring the product, and we have done it successfully out here.
Okay. That's a very diplomatic answer. I'm not asking you as an expert. There is no expert in this. As somebody who is informed of the issues, but I understand the limitation on that. Okay. But, you know, what is there is a plan to introduce TB for adults within the TB program. They have actually rolled it out in a number of, what would be your take on that?
The TB point is absolutely correct. Now to reply on that in a public health forum, and that too, you know, that will escalate to the policy making. And as an infectious disease expert myself, I must tell you, sir, now once we say a vaccine, we have a vaccine, therefore it should be given to everyone. Maybe that may not be a very good argument. Now the first question is, what is our intent? Now BCG vaccine, it is a very clear role in the last 100 years that BCG vaccine does not prevent the transmission of the disease. So it is given to the children to prevent the complication of the disease, that is the tubercular meningitis. This is where it has got the actual role. So now if we say that the adult BCG vaccination is advocated, my question back to the public health will be, do they actually need it? Is that kind of a tuberculosis in those adult population a bigger public health problem which requires the intervention in terms of the preventive vaccine? So that question has to be answered by the public health before we can actually proceed in that direction.
Thank you. That's a very good answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we will.
Vinay, where are you?
Thank you so much.
Vinay, you want to say anything to you? You open? So thank you. You can close it.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.